Welcome back to another episode of the Evolution Project podcast. And it's me again. It's Bryan. And as we were planning out podcasts this year, we thought it was important to give everybody kind of an idea of a cadence that they can expect from us and what we have planned coming up this year for the Evolution Project. Now, if this is your first time listening to this podcast, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. One of the things we really love about the Evolution Project is we believe in growth. We believe that everything happens on the inside, works its way out, right? And so for the last 5 years, we have been doing experiences up here just about an hour away from my house in a place called Camas, Utah, and a place called Camp Oakley. And it's amazing. And it's a 2-day experience. And we have, believe it or not, we've almost done 20 of these things over a 5-year period. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what we have planned. We're kind of changing things up this year. But first and foremost, one of the things you've probably noticed is that from a social media standpoint, we've been pretty consistent in posting social media and putting stuff out there. And we've been bringing people on to our podcast. You'll notice that the cadence each month with our podcast is that we're releasing 2 podcasts a month. You know, I was debating how many podcasts should one release every month. You can see some people that are releasing a podcast a week. And for those people that are consistently releasing a podcast a week, my hat goes off to you because that's pretty amazing. Not only, putting out quality content every week, but bringing people on and doing that. And there's a lot of work to that. And so what we decided is 2 times a month, we can bring a podcast to you guys. These podcasts are going to be anywhere from, 25 to 35 minutes. So they're not going to be too long. Just enough time. The way I look at it is just enough time on your drive to work and your drive from homework. Put me on the car in with you and hear what we're doing. And let me introduce you to my friends. And you'll notice this year, we've already had, a couple really awesome people on the podcast. We've had Andrew Mangeris on the podcast. He's the one that we're going to talk a little bit about later with the summer activity that we're going to be doing with him and his foundation, Kotael. And then also we've had Adrian Dayton. Adrian Dayton is the one that's doing the horseback trip with me this year. And anyway, that's going to kind of like play in a little bit more. But what you can expect is 2 times a month, you're going to get a podcast. We are on Apple Podcasts and we are on Spotify. So you can find it there, the Evolution Project podcast. And obviously, if you're listening to that right now, you found us. What you'll also notice is like a cadence on social media. For the week of and the week after the podcast, we'll be posting clips of the podcast with links to the podcast. The best thing that we could ask you to do is listen to the podcast and then share it with your friends. That's how good messages move forward. And so that's our big ask from you guys and what you can expect as far as the podcast forefront goes. Mostly we're focusing on Instagram. And if you look on our Instagram stories and our Instagram reels and our Instagram page, the Evolution Project, it gives you an idea of both what we have coming up, activities coming up, but it also usually gives a recap of activities that we've done. Most recently, we just did a cold plunge in a sauna over at Adrian's house. Got a group of about 12 men together, and it was really cool. We brought this, Adrian had a friend that specializes in sound bowls and different types of musics and flutes and drums, and kind of took us on like an auditory journey. And it was a really awesome experience. This upcoming month, so basically the plan is every month we'll be doing some type of gathering where we'll get together and go and do something or have an experience somewhere. This next month coming up, we're going to do an activity with Sheila Peterson. Her podcast will actually be released next month. Actually, by the time you're listening, it'll be in February. That activity is going to be on February 26th at 6:30 p.m. in the library in Midvale. It's called the Tyler Library in Midvale. And we'll be there for 2 hours. One of the things that's unique about that is that Sheila Peterson, as you can tell, she's a female. And primarily for the Evolution Project, most everything that we've done has always existed around men, right? And this year we wanted to kind of broaden our horizons a little bit. One of the most common things people will say to me or ask of me at some point, either during or after an Evolution Project, they'll go, "Hey, Bryan, do you have anything like this for my wife? Or do you have anything like this for my son?" And in the past, the answer was always, unfortunately, we don't. And I know that there's things that exist out there in the world, and I can recommend you to something if your wife wants to go to a similar activity like this or experience like this. And while we don't have an evolution project for men and women yet, what we have right now is we're going to do this activity where we get together in February, and Sheila Peterson is trained and specializes in what's called Dialectical Behavioral Therapy, DBT. And the short version of what that really is it's being able to understand your feelings and understand your emotions and be able to uh, think with what's called a wise mind, is what they call it, where you're using, both your emotion, but you're also using like your intellect and finding the merger of those two, and then being able to give voice to and express what you feel. Oftentimes we don't do this, right? We just package it up inside, and over weeks and months and years, these things find a way of manifesting, sometimes in not really healthy ways. And Sheila is a master at this, and we're going to get together for 2 hours, and your spouses are invited. That's the main thing I want everyone to know. This is an activity with the Evolution Project where it will be a male and female activity. And I'm really excited to do that with Sheila. So that's coming up here February 26th at 6:30 p.m. at the Tyler Library in Murray. So we look forward to seeing you there. And then once again, we're doing a monthly activity. On the 17th of March, we have another activity coming up with our breath work. We really believe in breath work, and there's lots of different types and modalities of breath work. But Matthew Clark specializes in somatic breath work, and he does something really unique that a lot of people don't do. He does it with these headphones on, and he creates this kind of experience where it's music and it's sounds and it's sometimes it's narrations of people talking, like a kind of a mantra or a meditation, and you kind of go on this interesting little journey, and he's able to talk into the microphone as you're breathing the whole time. And we've done that in the past with him. We thought, man, that'd be a great opportunity. And we'll have Matthew on the podcast as well in that month, so he can explain a little bit more. Most of the activities that we'll be doing, if we're doing them with someone that month, the podcast that will be released will be featuring that person, so you can get an idea of what we're going to be doing before you actually come, because some people want to know, and I think it's great to document. So anyway, recap is 2 podcasts a month, 1 activity a month. And then we will also be sending out a newsletter. That's actually something really important. We found that, people have busy lives. And when we can send out a newsletter once a month, what it does is it just gives you a recap of what we have going on, what you've missed, and anything important that you need to know. Okay. So the cadence is the best way to stay in touch with us is, we're going to have you give us your contact information, which ultimately is your email address. So you'll be getting an email from us once a month to know what's going on. And then honestly, subscribe to the podcast so that when they're released, you'll automatically get it to you. That's probably the easiest way to do that. And then, don't spend too much time on social media. But when you do go on social media, make sure you just check out Evolution Project. And we got little Monday mantras every Monday that we put out. And then we, like I said, highlight the conversation that we've had with the podcast, which has been really valuable. There's always gold nuggets in every podcast, and it's cool to capture those little nuggets and put it in a soundbite that just kind of hits it home. All right. So this is kind of like the biggest change we're making this year. Those are all things we're adding to that you can expect from us. What we're changing this year is, after 5 years of doing the Evolution Project, I used to always tell people I do 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall. And we would go up to Camp Oakley, and a place that is very sacred and I love so much. And not saying that we won't go back up to Camp Oakley, but what I realized is I don't need to do 2 of those in the spring and 2 of those in the fall right now. I wanted to do something a little different. I've been doing it for 5 years. We've almost done 20 of them. And it kind of felt like, okay, I need to kind of mix things up right now. So what we have cooking this year is, I sat down at the end of last year and I said, what would be something fun and exciting and help people just like feel alive and give them something to really look forward to? And I came to the conclusion, I was like, I want to do cool things with people that I love, and I want to do good in the world, and I want to invite them along to go do it. Sounds pretty simple. And then I realized, very quickly, I don't know if you know this, or if you've ever put on an event yourself, but it takes a lot to put an event on. You have to obviously, get people to say yes, they want to come. Most events are going to cost money. It's a period of time that people are going to be away. And so I was like, what would be something that people would say yes to? And if you guys remember, we did a horseback trip last year, and that was kind of outside of the scope of what I'd done for evolution projects. And it was so wonderful. I had such a great time. It was definitely kind of a new experience for me. And I realized, whoa, we could do this over, in different locations over days and see where it goes. The horseback trip, if you haven't heard me talk about it, I'm going to talk about that right now, even though the other trip is before it, but I'm just going to talk about it since we're talking about the horseback trip. The horseback trip is going to be the 29th of July until the 1st of August in the Bridger Teton National Forest with Crooked Sky Outfitters. And go back and listen to the podcast with Adrian. And then in March, we will be releasing a podcast with Landon, who is the owner of Crooked Sky Outfitters. And Landon's going to tell you, he's like a real genuine cowboy. And he is the one that takes us on the trip. One of the things that I did this year is that I've partnered with people to do all these experiences. Because what I realized is, while, I'd love to try to attempt to do all these things, the more variables you put in these experiences, the more difficult it is to pull off, right? Like, I don't have horses. I wouldn't even know where to go to rent horses, let alone would I know how to saddle and take care of horses for 3 or 4 days all by myself. But guess what? Crooked Sky Outfitters, that's all they do. And, they're incredible people. They run an incredible experience. They actually do a lot of elk hunts up in this area, but in the summer, they like to get the camp set up towards the end of July. So we've kind of found this little sweet spot. Adrian, he's actually related to these people. That's how kind of we had the in on it. And they go up and get the camp ready, and we get to go have an experience with them up there before all the hunting season starts. So it's like the perfect storm for us. A little bit about that trip that you're going to need to know. That trip, there's only 12 spots available on that trip. That's just how it works with how many people we can bring in. Each spot is a $3,500 expense or investment, I'd like to say, in yourself to go to that. We are collecting a $1,200 deposit that holds your spot, and then by June 1st, you have to have everything paid up. Okay, so really simple. Listen to the podcast; it gives you more details on like what that all includes, but essentially, we meet 6 o'clock in the morning, we drive up to Wyoming, and then you come back Saturday evening, late that night. We leave on a Wednesday, come back on a Saturday night. It's awesome. It's a once in a lifetime experience. I did it last year. It was my favorite thing I did last year that I was not planning on doing when the year started. So that was really good. Also, there'll be more information. Like you can click the link on the website to get more information about it. But my recommendation is just listen to the podcast. It's worth it. And for sure, listen to the podcast when it comes out with Landon. And then our other activity that we have this summer, I'm basically not going to be in my house most of July, so see how that goes. I will be on the 16th of July through the 23rd of July. We have partnered with Cotael Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that works with indigenous communities in Mexico, specifically in Chiapas, Mexico, which is really close, just kind of north of Guatemala. One of the most beautiful places you'll go. It's not really hot. It's kind of up in the mountains. And basically the way that works is we go up, we fly into Tuxtla, which is where the airport's located, and then you drive about an hour. We will be staying in San Cristobal de las Casas is where it's called. And then every day we take a little commuter bus to the community, and we go and work in the community, and we help build this school. Now, there's a couple of things behind this that I'm really excited about. One, we've positioned it kind of like as a father-son experience. And I will tell you, it's also kind of open. If you really want to bring your son and your spouse with you, or if you really want to bring your spouse, that's great. Shandy and my 3 boys will be coming to this. Little Anders, my little 6-year-old, will be coming. It's because our whole family's going, and I don't want to leave him here by himself. And I think it'd just be an amazing experience for everyone to do together. The goal is we want to have about 25, 30 people come to this experience. Each person, the cost is $3,200. Now, let me tell you how that breaks down, just so you know. $1,000 of the $3,200 goes directly to the foundation to help build the school. $1,600 is the cost associated with the trip. Keep in mind, you do need to buy your airfare separate from this trip. Airfare ranges anywhere from $750 to $1,000 to get there. Okay. So you want to factor that into your, budgeting and planning for this. $1,600 goes towards the experience while you're there. That's hotels, that's food, everything is included. That's entrances into parks, because the second half of the trip, we're going to waterfalls, and we're going to not rainforest, but we're going to forests. We're going to see ruins and just explore all these places that this is not like a Cancun trip. This is like you're going to the places that are kind of off the grid in beautiful Mexico. We're going to a place called Palenque. Palenque is amazing. If you look it up, it's a big hub. It's a lot like Chichen Itza. It's just not as well known. They say that 90% of Palenque is still covered by the rainforest, essentially. And only 10% has been excavated. Now, I want to tell you, I went on this trip with my wife, Chandy, not last summer, but the summer before that. So I have been on both trips that I'm talking to you guys about. And I will tell you, these are once in a lifetime experiences that there's just no way to really replicate this. You are authentically working with indigenous people that are real people. These people in these communities, and you should listen to the podcast. Andrew Mangeris does a way better job than I do explaining it. But going back to the cost, sorry, I got a little distracted. That's my beautiful brain at work here. So $1,000 goes towards the project, $1,600 is the cost, and then $600 of that goes towards Evolution Project. That helps me do stuff like this and do activities throughout the year. So that's how it breaks down. Just want to be as transparent as possible with everybody. It is a donation to a 501(c)(3). So it is a charitable donation, which is really awesome. And it's doing something that's meaningful. And by the end of the summer, they will have this structure built. And my goal is to raise $60,000 through our efforts, because that's about the cost to fund one of these things. The communities donate the ground, and then we donate the structure. It's typically a 2-classroom school, and they're usually one of the nicest buildings in the community. And they've got a thing worked out with the government of Mexico, and basically allows these people to get an education, because most of these people, they have to leave their house and walk an hour, 2 hours a day just to go to school and still provide for their family. And it's just not easy. I'm trying to help out. Anyway, so where I was going with all this is I want to invite you guys to this. They're going to be amazing experiences that you'll remember for the rest of your life. You will find yourself thinking about and talking about it and being like, remember that one time when? And I got to be honest with you, I did this, the trip to Mexico with my wife, and it's still something we talk about every once in a while. And we're both really excited to take our 2 boys down and let them have an experience down there with us. So last trip for the year is going to be in the first part of August. I don't have the exact date. Sorry, the first part of October. We're going to southern Utah, and we're going to go down and we're going to have a base camp. We're going to do some backpacking, but we're also going to do some canyoneering. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be honest with you. It scares me a little bit, to be totally honest. I am not like the guy that loves to go canyoneering and stuff, but it felt like an edge. And anyway, we're going to get a group of about 8 to 12 guys together. That trip will be very inexpensive. It's a $600 investment. So I tried to make it as affordable as possible for anyone that would want to go. And, we're going to backpack in. I've hired somebody that, they're very experienced when it comes to ropes and canyoneering, and they're very familiar with the area down there. And so we're going to have just a really great little adventure over a weekend. We'll leave on a Thursday and get back on a Saturday night. That's how it's going to work. And there'll be 2 different canyons that we'll be exploring, and we'll have a base camp, and we'll explore the canyon and then come back to that base camp every night. So that is what we have cooking for this year for the Evolution Project. If you were to ask me, how can you support Bryan? How can I help support you, Bryan? The best way you can help support is just engage, share the social media posts that we put up, tell your friends about it, invite them to the activities that we have coming up. Most of these activities that we're doing, they're either free or it's a very, very low investment. It's $20 to come. And really what we're trying to do is we're just trying to get the word out. We're trying to have experiences with people and give them a little taste of what the Evolution Project is. So if they want to come and do one of these grand adventures, they're more likely to do that. So anyway, my ask, like, once again, is just, share the podcast, share the post, talk to your friends about it. If you have gone to an Evolution Project and you're listening to this, which is probably likely, we invite you to engage back with us. Like, what I found is the work is the work. And just because you go, away for a couple days, right, that doesn't mean that we've fully integrated. And oftentimes the best thing we can do is go have these experiences, get the insight, get the uploads, get that, have that conversation with our higher self, and then come back to our life and just start to go to work and be about the work. And then come back a year later and see where you're at, see what sounds different, what feels different, what looks different to you, because you have made it part of you. You've embodied the work. And that is the essence of life. So thanks for listening to this. Stay engaged with us. Lots more fun going on, but this is just the start, just the beginning. And I look forward to this grand adventure with you, my friends.